But back to what I wanted to get to, the difference with this Orioles team this year. Let's start with that, because the Orioles had a very solid year last year, Gav, but man, things just changed. Things really took off, and even more than what people even expect
since they called up Adley, really.
Yeah. In my opinion, obviously last year they could really pitch, and that stayed pretty much the same this year. They've added a couple starting pitchers, which has helped them, and their bullpen is their strong suit. But the biggest difference to me is the way they could swing it. You had Gunnar, and obviously Adley was up last year when I played them, and Mullins, but Santander and Gunnar and Adley and these guys, they Mountcastle. I mean, they're a deep lineup. They're a dangerous lineup. I think at one point when it was like 3 or 4 guys that you kind of wanted to avoid, and then you kind of attack different sets of the lineup. But now it's just 1 through 9. They can get after it. They play great defense, and they can really pitch. So it's a tough team.
It's about to say 1 through 9 can bang,
1 through 9 can bang.
It's a saying. It's a real thing.
I got it.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a real thing.
So the lineup, obviously, top to bottom, that's what's made them so much more of a dangerous team. The starting pitching really took a step too. So, Kyle Bradish, who I know you faced in 21, didn't get a chance to face him this year. I don't think you faced him last year. You might have.
I think I faced him in Baltimore last year, but no, he's a different guy this year. Obviously Grayson has turned it on in the second half. You bring in a guy like Gibson, who is an unbelievable veteran from what I've heard, a great clubhouse guy who knows how to manage games and go deep into innings and games. And then you had a guy like Flaherty at the deadline. So you got
Fuji, which
Fuji
we've caught so much flack for defending all the time.
Big Fuji guy. Threw 103. Got to root for the guy. But so
Means comes back as well. So it's another weapon.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you, because you just brought up Kyle Gibson can you explain how having a guy like that in your locker room is something you can't quantify with data?
Yeah. You bring in guys like Frazier, Gibson, and McCann, and I don't care what their performance on the field is, but they are unbelievable people to have in a clubhouse, and they're the guys that can show the young guys how to do things, how to go about their business, how to play a full season, how to get ready for the postseason. I don't care what they do on the field. Anything that they add to the field is a bonus, because you're bringing these guys in to lead the clubhouse, and I think you need guys like that on a winning team.
Well, okay. What about you that year in 21?
So I had Lance Lynn, Dallas Keuchel, Rodon, Abreu. I mean, we had
you had guys that, again, like some of those guys were having really good years. Yeah. Some of those guys were having, up and down, but that's the point. I think everyone gets caught up with there's someone else that can come up and replace these guys. And you could say maybe talent-wise, sure, but from a leadership, from an ability standpoint, when things get tough, I think that's where in sports things gets blown out of proportion.
Well, we talked about that earlier in the season. George Springer had that 0 for, what was that, the 0 for 32 or something crazy, and we were just like, what's going on?
That's not crazy, by the way. I'll show you crazy, but it does.
You know what I'm saying. For George Springer, that was crazy. That was highly unusual for George Springer. So my point was just that, just keeping him around in the clubhouse because he's been there, done that. Yeah. I mean, I would imagine has to carry merit too.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why you bring in guys like that, and especially on a team like the Orioles with so many young guys. Those are the guys that are leading them right now, preparing them for what to expect on Saturday. Walking them through it. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. You have to have guys like that. Every winning team has guys like that.